Hello, everyone, and everyone watching later on video. Thank you so much for coming. I love Pyohio. I love seeing folks here. Just very deeply appreciated. Okay, so let us talk about UV. To start with, you don't need to madly scribble things down. These are all on my GitHub, Catherine Devlin, under talks. It's just in Markdown form right now. I'll try to get it in GitHub pages, but in the meantime, you can probably deal with the Markdown. Little teaser. Let's see if we can get this going. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't get the video transferred. All right. We'll skip the teaser. We'll go straight to the other material. So first of all, why? Why would I try to talk you into coming to a talk that you've already decided to come to? Well, you're here to learn about UV, but maybe reluctantly. I know I was reluctant. I felt like, no, when I heard about UV, I'm only halfway into learning poetry. How can you do this to me? Now you're telling me, oh, well, now the cool kids have moved on to using the newest tool. Why are you still using that? I was like, stop it, leave me alone, I hate you. But lots of romance movies start with that scene where like, oh no, I could never get together with them. And I fell in love with UV, and here's why I think that you will too. So Python is a wonderful language. It's easy, it's clean, it's beautiful. Oh, I love introducing people to it. And then I start telling them about how to get all their packages and everything arranged, and I got to explain virtual environments to me, and I start feeling like, oh, I promised them something easy and wonderful and clear. And then I have to start worrying about, okay, like, what version are you at, and do you need to update, and when are you going to update? And oh, you're a Windows user. Oh gosh, I hope you have admin rights. Oh, we have to deal with your path. So that part is not as easy as I would like it to be. A bunch of solutions, or at least partial solutions, have been introduced over the years. Really a great variety. I could list a lot more. That's kind of a violation of our Zen, right? There's a bunch of different ways. And every Python programmer assembles their own favorite toolkit from among these tools. And so, okay, I think you should use these, but then they go web searching and they get advice from a different programmer with a different toolkit, and confusion multiplies. So that's kind of terrible. So clearly what we need, well, this has become gallows humor for a long time in the Python community. It can be a mess. So obviously the solution is like one tool that will take care of everything, right? That's not some skepticism there is warranted. Nonetheless, I think that this is it. I think that this is our one true tool. Why UV specifically? Well, it's got a very boring logo. It's got no cute animal mascot. Maybe we're all out of cute animals. There is a cockroach DB, so we probably are. So that's not why, but it does have a lot of wonderfully unique virtues. Okay. First of all, it's comprehensive. It covers all of the bases that all these other tools cover. So you only need to learn one tool, and that tool is very easy to learn and to use. Hopefully you'll agree by the time I'm done here. You don't need to think about virtual environments anymore. They are transparent to you. And if you haven't learned about them yet, you can skip that step. Or more likely, if you're helping a novice along, you don't have to indoctrinate them into virtual environments. And that is wonderful. And then it's just really, really, really fast. And I never thought that was a concern. I was like, believe me, installing my packages, like waiting for them to install is the least of my problems. And yet, when you've got really fast installation, you'd be surprised how quickly you get hooked on it, and it really is valuable. It's also very low commitment. Right there on the install page, there are uninstall instructions, and it's literally 2 lines. A couple more if you want to clear out caches that don't really matter, but and then it's gone. So if you want to try this out and later on you decide no problem, no worries. So can I guarantee that I won't be back here in a year or 2 or 5 saying, hey, it's time to learn the newest cool tool? I can't guarantee it. I think that we're at the end of this saga, but if we're not, UV is not coming out of left field. It's another step in an evolutionary process that has been going on for a long time, and it is building on concepts that have grown out of the whole PyProject.toml idea and other tools that use it. So if I do come back and tell you to use another tool in a few years, it will in all likelihood be building on this same evolutionary chain, and whatever effort you put into learning UV right now will not be wasted, will serve you all for the next best thing, if there ever is a next better thing. For example, and I'm not saying Pixie is better, but I'm going to give it a shout out. There's a tool called Pixie that is rather similar to UV, and the main distinction is that it uses the whole CondaForge ecosystem. So for some reason, if you need to use some non-Python packages that CondaForge covers that PyPI does not, you could look at Pixie, and most of what you're learning today will will carry over to Pixie. All right, so let's talk about actually using UV. Well, the first thing to do is to install it, and this just might be my favorite part because it is a one-liner. It is a one-liner that is available on any system that does not require admin rights, that in every user I have taken through this has handled setting up their path and everything without any issues. I am not sure how they made it so reliable, but I have not struggled even the slightest to get UV installed on anyone's system. And thank you, thank you. So in just a few moments, you get UV installed. What next? Well, the first thing the UV people did is make sure that UV could duplicate the functionality of older tools like pip and like virtual env. And so if you go web searching for advice on how to use UV, you may find advice that is based on using UV as if it were one of these older tools. And you can do that, and it will give you faster speeds, and that's kind of nice. But it doesn't give you the greater simplicity that I think the more up-to-date UV-based workflow does give you. So I am advising you, don't use UV like it were an older tool. Instead, use one of the up-to-date workflows that I'm going to show you today. And kind of the primary one, I'm just calling this the project workflow, is really pretty simple. You have a directory. You make that directory into a UV project with a simple one-liner. Then you specify the requirements for packages that you have, and then you run with UV, and that is all you do. So now we're going to try the live demos, I believe. And this is not because of the keynote earlier. I was already planning on this. So here I am in an, oh, no, I want to go to, oh, I've got to make the directory. All right. Make dir, demo, cd, demo, move from talks, oh, yes, project. All right, so clearly this is an empty directory. I am going to make it into a project, UV init bear. If I leave off the bear, then I'm ready to make it into a package for later distribution as a wheel, but I'm skipping over that part. What that does is it sets up a pryproject.toml. Now my next step, let's take a look at the, so that's pretty simple. Next, we are going to define our dependencies. And you can do this by directly editing your pyproject.toml, but I'm not going to do that. I think it's easier to UV add. Now, I should look at our script. This is a NumPy demo. It just comes straight out of the standard NumPy tutorial. So, and I'm going to need NumPy. So I'm adding NumPy. And we are, okay. Now I'm going to look at my, my new and improved pyproject.toml. All right, now I have a dependency defined. And now I'm going to run. There we go. So totally clean to running a NumPy-based script really quickly. I did not install Python. I haven't showed this off, but if I didn't have Python installed, it would have gone and grabbed Python for me and installed it. I did not set up a virtual environment. I did not install packages other than specifying that that was the dependency that I wanted. And I did not activate a virtual env. All of those are handled for you. Now, I do have a virtual env. There it is under .venv. So it's there. Don't worry. Now you can forget about it, because it's really, really not your problem. As long as you run under UV, UV is going to find that venv and use it. And I love not teaching new Python users about virtual environments. So if you wanted to leave now, I would understand, because you're ready to go. You could just become a UV user just like that. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on out there, so I wouldn't blame you. However, there are some more cool things that I think you'll have fun if you stick around. And one of them is a script-based workflow. So this is a little bit heavy. We started with just a single, very short script, and now we've got, what have we got? A TOML and a lock file and a virtual environment. And if this is just a single script that I'm maybe sharing informally, just passing around, I don't know, that feels a little heavy. I need to make sure that those things go with it. That's maybe more than I want for some purposes. So UV also provides a script-based workflow, and so let us do that. Let's make dear a demo 2. Let's copy our over there, but just the script itself. Let's pop over there. All right. So this doesn't have any virtual environment or anything, and obviously if we just try to run right now, we're not going to get anywhere. It's going to complain. Yeah, we don't have NumPy present. All right. So now we're going to skip the initialization step because we're not going to make this into a project directory. We're going to add --script. We're going to say what we're adding to, and then I'm going to say NumPy. All right. Now, UV run mp demo, and we are running, and there we go. Okay. Now, what all do we have here? We have, nothing. How did all this happen? Kind of showed you that. Yeah, let's look at, what do we have now? Oh, all right. So this is new. I didn't add that. It looks like UV added it. So this is a header comment with a specific format which defines my requirements. And this does not come out of nowhere. This is defined under a PEP, that specific format. And that can be a lightweight replacement for a pyproject.toml file, which UV will create for you. So I don't need my toml. Okay, that's nice. But where is my virtual environment? As I mentioned, it's not there in my directory. Well, it is ephemeral. It was created, it's in a cache directory, but it was created on demand. UV will create it again on demand if I purge my cache or something like that. Created just for this very specific script. And that was hard for me to get used to because it felt like, isn't that really wasteful of download and of disk? I mean, come on. My great-grandmother made it through the Great Depression on a single virtual environment that was borrowed from her older sister. So how can we be doing that? But it's okay, because much of the magic of UV is its very aggressive caching. You should only need to download you should only need to download a single version of a single package once. And then UV squirrels it away in its cache. And when you go to when UV needs a virtual environment, which is going to use that package, it's going to make a hard link to it. So there's no new downloading, and there's no copying of files. A virtual environment is just a set of hard links, which is virtually instant to create. So that's cool. Now, if you can make virtual environments essentially for free, that opens up some interesting possibilities. For example, we can throw new temporary requirements in with the --venv argument, or sorry, --with argument. So for example, we're going back to our NumPy demo, and now we're gonna be really cool kids, and we're gonna play with polars. So UV run, I'm gonna do this from this part. I'm fuzzy on this. This requires the project workflow. --with doesn't seem to play well with script. I'm not sure why yet. Maybe that'll be fixed soon. But if we go back to demo, all right, so nothing up my sleeve. Here's what we've got there. Now I'm going to UV run with polars, Python, np demo. Oh yeah, and I want to do interactive Python. Okay, so my script is running, and it's, I hadn't put this version of Python on this machine before, so it does have to go to the internet and grab a few. All right, so I've got my NumPy array. I'm going to import polars as PL. Now let me see, data frame R. All right, instant polars on demand. And you will notice what I did here. I can omit, if I'm just running a regular Python script, I can omit the Python part. But in this case, because I wanted to run Python in interactive mode after the script finishes, that is why I explicitly added Python as my program to run. So this means that I can, why was I demonstrating polars when I could have done Causse? That's boring. All right, I'll get to Causse in a moment. That also implies that I could, using with, you can use with multiple times, I could fire up IPython, for example, even though I haven't yet installed IPython in this directory, and play around with that. And maybe that is what I'll do. UV run with IPython with Causse IPython. All right, I did not prime my cache on this machine, so this will, there. Oh, maybe I already had Causse. Good for me. Import Causse. Causse.cow. Oh, nope, that's my employer, but I'm not here on my employer's business today. There we go. Okay. All live. And I suppose in this case, I didn't even refer to my script, did I? That was all just, that was all just raw IPython. So all that happened in a completely ephemeral virtual environment. So I have indeed fired up JupyterLab just on a whim to inspect my program with that. So that's cool, but this whole business of UV -- with Causse, Python Causse, there's a shortcut. UVX, if you've ever used pipx, UVX is UV's answer to pipx. This allows you to use a utility, a command line utility. I was going to say it allows you to use it in an ephemeral virtual environment, so it literally doesn't matter whether you have ever installed that tool before. You don't, oh, have I installed TLDR? I'll just use it. And then if I don't have it, I will. So for example, I don't remember how to use curl. And if you haven't seen TLDR, this is a nice package. It's kind of like a man page that cuts to the chase. And there we go. Okay. So this is my info on curl produced for me by TLDR. I don't remember if I'd installed TLDR on this machine. It doesn't matter. I've got it now. So that is cool for a variety of Python command line utilities. Here are some examples. A lot of them are your code grooming kind of utilities, but then there are some more interesting ones. So I gave you that example. There's a UV tool command, and I think the best way to think of this is to create an alias for UVX whatever. When you think that you are going to be using one of these Python commands consistently, UV tool essentially puts it into your toolbox. So for instance, do I have Causse yet? I don't have Causse. This is intolerable. UV tool install Causse. Okay. Causse moo. Am I doing this right? Oh, I have to say my text. Okay. All right. So now this is available as a system-wide utility, as well it should be. And it is, I can keep track of what tools I have installed that way with UV tool. Or of course, I can always just UV exit if I don't want to even bother figuring out if that is an issue or not. And, oh, I'm cruising. So that covers most of our day-to-day headaches, but then as a project goes on, you start to think about versioning. Am I still using a reasonable version of Python? I know that the users where I am, there's way too many people using Python versions that are out of date. Please update them. But I can say please update them, but if it's a pain in the neck, is that really fair to do to them? So updating Python and updating your packages are an important part of good Python hygiene. UV makes it all very easy. For one thing, UV is great at updating itself. Now I'm really curious, UV self-update, it's been about 4 days since I run this on this machine. So let's see. We're checking for updates. Anything new? Drumroll, please. UV is being developed at a furious pace. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, all right. We've already got a new version. UV is barely over a year old. I think it's about maybe a year and a half old. And so the updates are coming fast and furious. So it's always cool to just keep yourself up to date on it, and it's really easy. And that is actually the installer you can install with something like Brew, but in that case, I don't think you can use this self-update. So that's why I prefer using the one-liner to install. All right, so Python versions. Now this I think is interesting. UV Python list. So this is showing essentially all of the Python versions that are available, and if I've installed them, and where I've installed them too. So installing a new one is really, really easy. Like, let's say, for example, I was like, oh, PyPy. Yeah, I've heard I should try using PyPy. I heard that's what the cool kids are doing. UV Python install PyPy 3.11. Or I could even just specify that if I'm setting up a project and I'm doing my init, I could say UV init, I'm sorry, UV init, I think it's Pi 3.11. So you can experiment with Python versions that you really haven't wanted to take the time to figure out how to download. So that is true for things like PyPy and Grail Pi, which I think is the successor to Jython essentially. And hey, what are these? 3.14 alpha and beta? Have you ever wanted to experiment with those? Well, now it becomes really, really easy. So that's cool. Or if you have an existing project and that project has already specified a Python version, you can always edit your pyproject.toml and then run uvsync. Uvsync essentially looks at pyproject.toml as the canonical truth and then will catch up the virtual environment and the uvlock file to match pyproject.toml. But maybe more important, you can use the regular version specifiers as you add a requirement if you like. Don't have to, by default it just goes and finds the latest version of a package which is compatible to whatever other package versions you've already specified for this environment. And I'm not going to demonstrate this one live because I didn't quite have time to get this ready. But perhaps nicest of all, you can check what is outdated with this very simple. I mean, UV tree is handy in itself, but UV tree outdated is even nicer because it gives you a full report on everything in your project that maybe you want to update. And then if you do want to update it, it's as easy as UV lock upgrade, and now you're not out of date. And one little caveat on this, if the reason I was using, when I was using an older NumPy, if the reason was because my pyproject.toml included an equal NumPy, if it included NumPy equal 2.1.1, maybe because that's the way I'd put it in there with the add, then pyproject.toml is canonical and says, no, you said 2.1.1, you mean 2.1.1 even if you are updating. So in that case, you would want to edit your pyproject.toml, change the equal into a greater than equal, and then run your lock update. Or you can always UV remove NumPy one, and then UV NumPy add, and it'll first erase your one with the specifier, and then add a new one with the more permissive specifier that allows updating. And so now you are a UV master. And you can go forth, you can use this yourself, and also and perhaps especially on newer folks who are getting used to Python. It is developed by Astral, so if you're searching, you want like either Python UV or Astral UV, so I've linked to that there. Again, all this material is under /talks, and you can absolutely contact me. And if you're in the Dayton area, we'd love to meet you at Dayton Dynamic Languages, DaytonDL.org, which is Dayton's, like, it's a Python user group 3 meetings out of 4, and then we squeak in something the other meeting. Thank you all very much. I've maybe got time for a question or two. Probably a question. All right, all right. Okay, yes, I think it is recommended for production. I guess technically it's not. Hang on. I don't remember what the version specifies. I guess it's technically in a 0 dot, but we're Python people. We don't worry about that, right? Yeah, okay. So a particularly persnickety place might say it's not at version 1 yet. So give it another 15 minutes, refresh the browser. We'll see. They'll probably be there very soon. Uh, were you I'm in the process at work of getting it officially blessed, which actually probably will take more time than Astral has taken to write it thus far. But I don't think there's any reason. It is already very widespread. I understand that, which project was it? Has already seen more more downloads via UV than via poetry. So yeah, if there's something wrong with UV, like the whole world is going to collapse. It's not going to be a personal problem. Yes. I don't know of one. As of poetry, if you're using Poetry 2, the pyproject.tomls seem to be compatible. I've only experimented with this a little bit. If you've got a pyproject.toml, which was created under Poetry 2, you should be able to use it with UV. I'm not sure you can use it seamlessly, but the basics are there. I'm not sure if there's a utility for it. If there isn't, this might be your chance for fame and glory. All right. Thank you, folks, and enjoy.